We can start with your questions for the panel around the topic was post-secondary and beyond, and the beyond was really trying to stretch into that area of online learning that goes beyond our public post-secondary institutions, and that's why it was wonderful to have Carolyn here as part of that as well. So let's start. Anybody have a question? Yeah. That happened last year too.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask about the nursing model. That's wonderful.
Thank you.
But I just wondered where do you put it? Like, is it embedded into a course, or is it like on the introductory to nursing website? Where is it?
Oh. Sorry. I've been working on that all day, the restraint. We have a link to the learning object on Blackboard, and the instructors in the early parts of the program are using it to teach in the classroom in face-to-face. We also have a degree completion course that addresses nursing models, and so it's available for the instructors there. So we really encourage the instructors to keep it alive because we don't want it to get stale. Thank you.
I was just interested, I can't remember your name now, the gentleman that did the business communication. How did you come up with the ventriloquism? I can't even say the word. So,
ventriloquism means belly speaker.
Have you always done that?
No, I just took it up 2.5 years ago. And when I was 60, I've always loved it as a kid and puppets, and I just thought I'd try it. And I'm always looking for new ways to be innovative with kids, that you can connect with them, and especially with the young people. And boy, the ventriloquism's just really connected with the kids, not face-to-face courses.
So that was my next question. They're not looking at it as corny or anything?
No,
or like
not at all, because when I use Simon telling the story, you can hear a pin drop. And, you know, how the puppets do command the presence. It's really amazing. And that's the whole illusion, is that you focus in on that puppet as a person, as an entity. And, no, it's a powerful tool.
I love the creativity. Yeah. It was great. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so you guys all showed a bunch. There were some pretty cool tools you showed. I just wondered, maybe just kind of capturize what was a tool that you kind of used to make it. There was the voice thread was one, but if you guys want to just maybe go across, but a tool that you've used to help you create these fancy online learning environments.
Good question.
Okay, our example wasn't really fancy. But we used a content management system called Joomla, and that was basically, we started that before UBC had this established standard to use WordPress. These days UBC is trying to just get everyone to use their WordPress platform. Hopefully we are going to change to that later on, but we are still using Joomla as our platform, content management system. And one thing that we didn't mention during the presentation is that we are moving to the next step, which is we are going to provide everything on mobile devices using HTML5. We don't really want to go to the path of creating applications for any specific device. It's going to be HTML5, which is web-based. Any mobile device can use it.
I don't think it's a tool so much as the fact that you can have interactivity now. There's more and more communication online between instructors and students and students and students, and in our example, trying to build that community of practice where people can be in contact with each other. So it's not so much a specific technology, but I suppose a tool that we can use now to build that community.
Myself personally, I really like PowerPoint, but not the text heavy. I like to use it visuals, as you saw there. I really like TechSmith, their Camtasia Studio 7, which you can do quizzes, all sorts of things with the media, and it's very easy. And then they have Screencast, which you can upload your clips and students can have access to. And the one thing I like about Screencast is I think you have to worry about YouTube. It's so out there, where with Screencast you can sort of keep some confidentiality to it and keep it within your own realm. And user-friendly, and I think instructors that have user-friendly software can really do good content. And I'm really glad to see a lot of the visual, because I think we have to recognize visual learners, especially the up-and-coming generation.
And I'm always on the lookout for anything that's going to allow either me to give my voice or the students to give their voice. So things like VoiceThread and AudioBoo, and anything I can embed into Moodle in that regard. I would love to have something like Illuminate available, because I think that would change, make another whole layer to what we could do online in terms of learning.
I got to use an expensive tool, and it's been a delight using it. I've actually asked Ruby to license that tool, the video player, because I think it's got huge potential for training across the board. At this point, they don't want to license. But I think that's the most profound tool that I've ever used in terms of creating different learning and interrupting learning at different points. But I'd also say for projects, because I came into Ruby at the real advent of using video online, and now a lot more of my projects I'm working on are embedding video and using video to create that sense of community, and to I've used a lot of it in projects where there's a lot of high anxiety with users coming into an online environment, and to see people, so Skype, video, anything that, the VoiceThread, the AudioBoos, anything to get people connected at the very beginning to lower that sort of anxiety has been really, really effective.
I use Flash to create the presentation that you saw, and one of the reasons I used that is I wanted to create something that was self-contained. The video was in there. It was all in one package, that people didn't have to go anywhere else to get the materials that they needed. And another thing that we tried to do is we were very concerned that in 2 years or even a year that this might become outdated, the text, and so we've tried to keep as much of the information actually physically outside of the Flash project. So if Maureen decided that some of that text needed to change or needed a revision, she could actually just go to a text file and change the text file, and that would automatically be part of the project now. So yeah, so we chose Flash for that reason, because I don't know anything else. So.
This question is more directed at Carolyn. About the actually, I was really impressed with all the different varieties of uses for videos. It was kind of neat to see that all showcased today. But I can't help but focus in on what Carolyn was showing us with regard to the customizable learning pathways, and wanted to see, like, what do you, how do you see us, using that idea.
Getting to that point and doing it someday.
Yeah, how do you see us doing that?
I think Ruby is one of those they're the innovators and the early adopters. So I think what's really interesting in terms of my practice, having been associated with them, but also working with the post-secondary realm, which is when we wait for it to become affordable or filter down to us. So I think what I showcased today, we're not going to be using for a number of years. I don't think we'll get to those customizable learning pathways. Ruby created its own LMS to be able to customize the pathways. Moodle, WebCT, Blackboard is not there. Even some of the new ones I've seen, like Canvas, is not there yet. But if Ruby can do it, it will be coming down the pipeline to us for sure. These guys are they've just become revenue generating within the last year. So it took them 5 years, desperately, and this is all privately funded. They have not gone public yet. So this is, they've they've gone out and raised the money themselves. But they've gotten Daniel Ballou, if anybody knows of Daniel Ballou, the chef from New York. He's come on board with Ruby because he wants to start an apprenticeship program in the United States. CCAP, which is in thousands of schools across the United States, is now partnering with Ruby. We need those kinds of partnerships with these kinds of companies before we get access to what the innovations that they're creating. And that's the unfortunate part. Now, I can take what I've learned from Ruby and bring it to other organizations, but having gone through the months and months and months of discussions with the programmers on the logic behind, especially the user interface logic behind the LMS, it was fascinating. I am by no means anywhere near an expert, but it was really interesting from the back end to look at that logic. And I think people can start producing it. It costs money, though, unfortunately. You know, that to create the algorithms, I think we were in discussions over 6-7 months to create the frames, the logic behind it, and it took the programmers another 6 months to program it. So unfortunately, Robin, it's not going to be available very soon.
Thank you. Any other questions? No? Oh, sorry, I didn't see you.
I'm not sure there's an answer to this, and I think I know there's not, but I'm wishing that there would be. That I'm kind of new to this field, and my brain is just exploding with all the resources out there, and it seems like every time I open up a tip a day or I come to one of these, I'm leaving with 3 or 4 more different software things. Is there any kind of reputable, recognized kind of source where these are just being kind of web page where these are being listed, where you can go to and just kind of get a really good sense of everything that's out there? Or is it really just finding your way and, as Barb said, following links and tripping over them? Oh, God, yeah.
Twitter has been the best professional development, bar none, for me in the last 5 years. As long as you're following the people doing the educational technology, that seems to be their whole point in life, is to put out the resources of the newest and greatest technology, and this is what works and this is what doesn't work. And once you've figured out who to follow and what chats to go into every week or every second week, just as a lurker, you can pick up a lot of these things.
I just believe that you find a software that you like to use, that's user-friendly, and just learn it inside and out. I found when I jump around, I don't really find one good area. It's finding what you're comfortable with and using it and sticking with it.
I don't know which institution you're working with, but usually at UBC we have a Center for Teaching, Learning and Technology, and part of our group have a few hours per week. We get together, it's jam session, we just experiment different things, and we learn from each other actually, because most of the stuff out there are not really designed for education per se. There are other applications, but if you have a group of interested people who can get together and just share their ideas. Brian is sitting there, he and a few other colleagues, we are working on augmented reality at the moment. We're trying to see how we can use it for education. And there are so many different examples of the same kind of concepts.
One of the things I would say is, even though I'm not a technology person whatsoever, and I think the most important thing is always to emphasize that good pedagogy and good instructional design is the primary way to go. The tool only supports that. So it really doesn't matter what tool it is. And I also find that depending on what projects you're working on, I go from institution to institution because I'm a contractor. So, you know, it's WebCT or Moodle or straight HTML. So you'll pick up, as you work on different projects, you pick up, and everything that we're talking about here today, we'll probably be talking about different stuff in a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now. nothing remains static. So I think it's flexibility, but making sure that you've got good instructional design first, that should be leading the way, not the tool.
I just want to echo that. Yeah, if you're getting hung up on the software, then you're coming at it from the wrong end. But that being said, I think you brought it up with the threading thing. Going out there and finding those things, it just gets the imagination going. So don't get too hung up on the tools, but just let your imagination go wild there.
Thank you. I have another question here.
Well, I would just like to suggest also we have some wonderful networks for educational development, such as the universities, colleges, institutes, professional developers group, the Education Developers Caucus, which is national, the more municipal Metro Ed group, and there's all kinds of online groups like EduCause and eTug, where you can get together on your own time and do professional development with others and network with them. There's some wonderful groups. And BC Campus pulls a lot of open source kinds of really accessible ideas together as well on their website.
Right now, this week, if you were to Google on K-12 online conference, it's a free online conference that's going on this entire week. And although it's geared to K-12, a lot of the ideas that they're using can be moved up into higher education.
Well, thank you, everybody, and thank you, everybody, for sticking around to hear the panel as well. Our feedback from last year was that the panels were really informative and really interesting, so I'm glad you were able to stay. I'm glad that the presenters were also able to stay for the panel. And we'd like to thank you. We have if you haven't gotten your gift yet, oh, you already have? Okay, so we really appreciate everybody today who submitted a presentation, because it really, we actually had to turn a few away this year, and that was a really hard thing to do. And it was part of the balance of having as much as possible, but also not jam-packing the day in too much. And I think we've nailed the time this year in terms of fatigue and where we feel at this time of day. So thank you, Leva, very, very much for joining us and for being such a great participant. We have something for you as well, token of our appreciation. And Sylvia, if you're out there in the web streaming world, thank you as well very, very much. We can blow you a kiss, I guess. And I just again want to acknowledge everybody who helped out with the day. Thank you very much. I won't go through the names again, but we really appreciate it. We also have Victor back there, Victor who thanked earlier but who wasn't here because Lars was here. Victor is actually going to be taking all these presentations and editing the actual presentations into little clips, which we will make available to the world eventually. The panels won't be part of that, but just for the presenters who, if you are uncomfortable with that, please get in touch with Karen and myself if you really don't want your presentation to be up on the web at all. But we hope you do, because I'm sure it'll be, I know of a few people who wanted to be here today. Dr. Tony Bates being one of them had to dash off to Online Educa in Berlin as part of one of his contracts that he has right now, and he was disappointed to not be able to be here for today, and he really asked that it be archived and saved for him as well. So we will make our effort to do that, and I'm sure there are others as well. So thank you very much, and I think that's it, unless... Karen, do you have anything to say? Leva? No? Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much. That was excellent.
Thanks very much for the opportunity to help.
Thanks for presenting. Good job.
We'll see you definitely. I talked to your dean already.